Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So welcome back all of you to this part 2 of the session where we are going to discuss and analyze the various philosophies which have sprouted mostly in the holy land of India. And we are going to discuss how these various schools of philosophies, they are affecting all of us almost on a daily basis, and we'll understand the essence of all these philosophies and try to become more and more Krishna consciousness, or try to engage more and more in Krishna consciousness by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if you can all hear me clearly, and if you can see me properly, can you please raise your hands to confirm that? Thank you very much. A small disclaimer. I'm again today hosting the session on my mobile hotspot. So if there are any jittery disturbances, kindly just bear with it. This session is not being done live, but it's being recorded on my laptop. There may be some there may be some disturbances in the Zoom session as such, but when the recording will be uploaded, it will be absolutely clear and crystal clear rather. So let's start with some kirtan. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhare, Jaya Girivaradhare, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhare, Jaya Girivaradhare. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanchari, Yamuna Tira Vanchari, Yamuna Tira Vanchari, Yamuna Tira Vanchari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So, we are going to start the session where we are going to discuss the various philosophies. In the level 2 of this Gita course, we had stopped doing the follow-up of people. I think people need a reminder call. That's why I'm seeing the day by day, the attendance is really reducing. I thought that people are sincere enough to attend on their own, but my assumption is not correct. It seems devotees are not joining for the session. So let's see what we can do to help them to join these sessions. Srinivas Ramakrishna Prabhu is telling that the frame tends to freeze at times, Prabhuji, but we are fine. I'm sorry, I can't do much. I'm having a very basic setup of internet here. I'm not in Bangalore right now. I'm in my parents' place. So I'm just locking a room. There are so many kids here. They are banging their glasses and shouting in front of their mothers. So somehow I've got this place, and the internet connection here is not very, I'm in a village basically. So I think we'll all have to adjust a little bit. Okay, so I'll share my screen now and we'll begin today's discussion. Okay, hope you're all able to see my screen. So I will quickly do a short revision before going to the next session so that all of you can just catch up what we have studied till now. But before that, the Mangalacharan is there. We go to the slide where I do the Mangalacharan. ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वत देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। हरे कृष्णा। So, in the previous session, we covered what is Shunyavad, what is Advaitvad, Vishishtadvaitvad, Dvaitvad, Achintya Bhed philosophy. Today we are going to consider or discuss what are the progressions or what is the linking between each of these philosophies, how to dot the I or link the dots, and what and why are there some contradictions. Just to take you through very quickly, we did not discuss any religions. We just discussed various philosophies, and that too we didn't go in depth. We just discussed the basics. Shunyavad, where we understood that this is the philosophy by Lord Buddha. This was essentially proposed. We went to the Dashavatara Stutram, where we saw the glorification of Lord Buddha, how he rejected the Vedas and instructed people just to be good human beings. In that way, he tricked people, he cheated people into the mode of goodness, because in the name of Vedas, they had become very materialistic, very karmakandiya, and especially the animals were being sacrificed left and right for the purpose of attaining higher planetary systems and better. They wanted to be in a better situation to enjoy better sense gratification or more sense gratification. So Lord Buddha just said, I just reject the Vedas, just follow me. So in that way, he introduced Shunyavad. He did not talk about body and soul as such, because people were anyway on the bodily platform, and he remained silent on the concept of God. And later on, we saw that what is the highest dharma? The highest dharma amongst all the dharmas is by which men can attain loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. So this is the Sanatan Dharma. When somebody embraces the Sanatan Dharma, they become a better Hindu, they become a better Muslim, they become a better Christian, they become a better Jew, they become whatever, a better father, a better mother, a better husband, a better sannyasi or a better brahmachari, whatever. So this is the highest religion. Now, whichever religion somebody is professing, or you or me are professing, we should ask this question to ourselves. How much a lover of God have I become? And how much eager and anxious I am to render loving devotional service to the Lord, and how much little bit understanding I have of the transcendence of the Lord. What is the name of the Lord? There are millions and millions of names. Okay, but what is the principal name? How does he look like? Where does he stay? What is his mood? What is his nature? What is his personality? Who is God? Is he just a light? Or is he just the all-controlling power? Or is he a person? All this kind of understanding we should get also in order to practice. And even above this understanding is the aspect of rendering loving devotional service to the Lord and understanding the transcendence to the Lord, and coming to this conclusion, or letting this conclusion being established in our heart as an irrevocable fact, that only by devotional service to such Supreme Lord will I ever get happiness in my life. And the service has to be unmotivated and uninterrupted. So that is Paro Dharmo, or the highest or the supreme occupation of all humanity, irrespective of all philosophies, irrespective of all religions. So with that, we started our discussion at Vaishnava. We saw it was established by Sri Shankaracharya, who is the incarnation of Lord Shiva as a Brahmana in Kali Yuga. Messages are coming. The Gita course team is suggesting me to switch off the video. Is it really bad? What about the others? Are you able to feel okay with this kind of a video setup? Should the video be on? If you want it to be on, please type yes. If you feel it should be off because it's freezing too much, please type no in the chat box. Okay. Okay. It's a mixed opinion. People want the video to be switched off. Okay, so I don't mind. What I will do, I will switch off the video so that you can focus on the slides. Hare Krishna. Let me know if things are better. So, we heard the pastime of Lord Shiva, how he advented on the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a Brahman, and he spreaded a philosophy according to the instruction of the Supreme Lord, where he explained that basically the Jiva and Lord are the same, and he described that absolute truth will be without any qualities or any energies, Nirguna and Nirvisheshvad, Nirakar, and things like that. And then we also saw references from various scriptures, how Lord Shiva is talking to Mother Parvati and he's telling that I've been asked to do this, but this philosophy is not correct, and things like that. After that, Vishishtadvait, it was propounded by Sri Ramanujacharya. And here was the philosophy of qualified oneness. He explained that the Lord and Jiva are similar, or maybe they can exist in oneness in specific conditions, but there are differences also. But in a sense, even when they are one, or even when they are different, in all circumstances, the relationship is that of a master and servant. One is the master and one is the servant. So the concept of servitude or the service mode came in through Vishishtadvait. Then Dvaitvad, Sri Madhvacharya propounded the philosophy of Dvaita. You see in all his deities also, wherever you go and see a Madhvacharya deity, you will see him sitting like this. Okay, I'm showing my finger as if it's visible to you. So I'll use my pointer. In all circumstances, you will see that he's sitting with a finger. Two is the finger. He's showing this. This doesn't represent victory. Of course, it represents victory. He also meant that I'm going to gain victory over all the false philosophies till now. And he also meant that the Jiva and the Paramatma are fully separate. They are absolutely two tattvas, and the Supreme is independent, whereas the Jivatma is dependent completely. According to Madhvacharya, there are two tattvas or factors. One is independent, the other is dependent. The first tattva is called the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, and the second tattva is called as the Jiv tattva. And he brought in the concept of soul and super soul. Actually, the concept of soul and super soul came. The concept of soul came very briefly. Sorry, the concept of soul came very nicely with the Advait philosophy or the Shankaracharya philosophy. With Buddhism philosophy or Shunyavad philosophy, there was no concept of soul. In the Advait philosophy, the concept of soul came in. In the Vishishtadvait philosophy, the concept of soul and the super soul came, but the concept of super soul was not very clear. But in Dvaitvad philosophy, full clarity of the concept of soul and super soul came. And then finally, we go to the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which was founded by Lord Chaitanya. By the way, is the audio better? Is the audio better now? Should the video remain off? Okay, let's proceed like this for this session. So we go to the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. And there we saw that Lord Chaitanya came in and he picked up two good principles from all the four sampradayas. That is the Sri Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, the Kumar Sampradaya, and the Brahma Sampradaya. And then he basically propounded the original theory of the Sanatana Dharma, which was the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva is the original philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, which existed eternally in all the planetary systems of this material world or this universe. Sanatana Dharma philosophy existed eternally since ever before the advent of Kali Yuga, when things became so foggy and so unclear, and so many new offshoots of religion in the name of sense gratification, such as Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, and everything just came up. I have no offense against all these religions whose names I have mentioned, but it's just that we see that there may be nothing wrong in these later offshoots of discipline to worship God or a school of worshiping God. by the names which I've just mentioned. There may be nothing wrong in them. They may be suited and tweaked for a particular time, place, or a circumstance. But we see that the followers of these religions, I am again repeating because this is a very sensitive matter, there may be no such thing wrong in the present offshoots, which have all happened in Kali Yuga. Before this, only the Sanatana Dharma existed. However, we see that the followers of these religions, they are not good. And as far as loving God is concerned, we don't see that they are progressing on the path of loving God. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya brought back the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva philosophy, or the original Sanatana Dharma philosophy. He propounded that there is inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference. The Jivatma, to a huge degree, around 78%, has the same qualities as God. However, God is infinite, or Krishna is infinite, and the Jivatma is infinitesimal. There's a huge difference in quantity, but to a huge degree, the quality is also the same. And then Lord Chaitanya started to explain everybody the concept of Lord and his energies, and how the Lord works is inconceivable. Nobody can understand him. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, neither the people of the material world nor the people of the spiritual world can understand me truly. And then we understood that there are various various energies of God, such as internal, marginal, external. All the personal associates of the Lord, along with whom the Lord descends, are the internal energy of the Lord, such as Mother Yashoda, Nand Maharaj, Srimati Radharani, Balram, all the Lakshmi incarnations, and all the Vishnu Tattvas. They're all internal energy of the Lord. The Bhautik Jagat, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, and the Mahat Tattva, have all been classified as the external energy of the Lord. And then the Jiva Tattvas fall in the marginal category, because they have a tendency to be influenced either by the internal energy of the Lord or by the external energy of the Lord. And the Lord's pastimes are inconceivable. This point, Lord Chaitanya made it very clear that do not try to, of course, try to understand it factually, but don't think that you have fully understood the pastimes of the Lord. If anybody thinks that they have fully understood Brahma Vimohan Leela, or if anybody thinks that they have fully understood any such Leela, such as Govardhan Leela or the Kurukshetra Leela, then my humble obeisances to them. But personalities like Lord Brahma also say that they cannot understand the pastimes of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya, why he does and what he does. So in this picture, which you are seeing next to yourself, and next to the on your right hand side in the slide, is this is Lord Chaitanya sitting with all with his associates. Here is Advaita Acharya. I hope that this is Advaita Acharya. And then there are so many other sannyasis and renunciants and even grihasthas surrounding him. And he's sitting and having discussion on this Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva philosophy. Okay, this much we had covered. And then we understood every philosophy in a nutshell also. But now we are going to start our analysis of these philosophies through Sankhya. Sankhya is that section of the Vedas which is basically meaning to be the logic section of the Vedas, Sankhya. Now, Sankhya section is originally propounded by Kapila, the son of Devahuti. In the later stages of Kali Yuga, there has been another Kapila who is the atheistic Kapila. But when I am talking about the Sankhya philosophy, I don't mean the atheistic Kapila. I mean Kapila, the incarnation of God, Kapil Muni, who is the son of Devahuti and Kardam Muni. He is the original propounder of the Sankhya philosophy mentioned in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This philosophy is so great, anybody who will read it will fall in love with it. And it helps us to logically understand this material universe, material world in general, and also the philosophies, and so on and so forth. So, the modern science is also a kind of Sankhya. The Sankhya philosophy says that there are 23 elements, 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, the Gyanendriyas. The Gyanendriyas being the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, with which we feel things. Working senses being the hands, legs, and belly, and all those things. And the sense objects, the objects of these sense organs, the objects of the Gyanendriyas, such as the objects which give the smell, the objects which give us some taste, the objects which make some sound, and finally the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So in this way, there are 23 elements which comprise the material nature. Sometimes some munis or some rishis, they also say that it is 24 because they can consider the Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva is that unified state of existence wherein all these 23 elements in their non-segregated, unidentifiable state, they reside, Mahat Tattva. The combination of all these 23 elements of material nature, which exists, is called as Mahat Tattva. So some rishis, some saintly people, they also say that there are 24 elements in the material nature. And when the scientists or the philosophers exhaust all the material elements to describe the world, they come to the point that there is nothing more. So this is the Shunyavad philosophy, according to the Sankhya system. We just we can understand and see and feel and perceive these 5 working senses, the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, the 5 sense objects. We know that we have a mind, we know that everybody has an intelligence, and we can see everybody's false ego very, very nicely. So we conclude that there's nothing beyond this. So there are 23 elements. This is Shunyavad. But then how do you explain the consciousness of a particular person? That is the next question which will come. So matter is inert. It cannot perceive things. If you keep a piece of wood somewhere and if you hit it, the person who owns the wood will feel bad, but the wood will not feel bad. So matter is inert. It cannot perceive things. So there is something beyond the 24th element, and that is called as the soul or the Brahman. The word Brahman specifically means that something which is spiritual. Anything which is spiritual, in one sense, can be called as Brahman. But more importantly, while discussing this Sankhya philosophy at this stage, we will refer to the 24th element as the soul. And then the Mayavadis say Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya. That means only the Brahman is the reality and the material nature is false. However, the Vaishnavas, they don't say that material nature is false. They say that the material nature is also true, but it is temporary. Because this material nature is also an energy of Krishna, external energy, Bahiranga Shakti. So anything which is Krishna's energy or related to Krishna can never be false. So therefore, the Brahman is Satya, Jagat is also Satya, but Jagat is temporary. That is to be understood. And are all the Brahmans same? That is the next question. If I am Brahman, you are Brahman, and the scriptures describe, okay, the soul is of the size of 1 by 10,000 tip of the hair. You take that hair, you take the tip of the hair, you divide it into 100 parts, take the 100th part, again divide it in 100 parts, that's the size of the soul. So are all the souls, all the Brahman same? So that brings in the 25th element, that is God. So till now, please carefully note. So analysis through Sankhya. So Buddhist philosophy was talking about these 23 elements. Vishishtadvait started talking about the 24th element being the soul. The Dvait philosophy started talking about the super soul and the soul. Then in continuation to this, Madhvacharya, he added that the 25th element, that is God, and the 24th element, Jiva, can never become one because they are always separate. Then comes the Achintya Bheda Bhed philosophy, which begins to explain that God is great. He is great because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned that God and us, we are eternally different. However, we have all the qualities of God. We are one in quality, but the quantity is different. And the God and Krishna has inconceivable potencies, amazing potencies, which can put even the great thinkers into illusion or amazement. And that's how the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam begins. Janmadyasya yato anvayad itarataschartheshna abhigyasvarat. I'll do one thing. I'll share my screen and that verse so that we can all relish that. So I'm going to share the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam with all of you, by which you will understand that how Achintya, throughout the Bhagavatam and throughout the Bhagavad Gita, mentioned references how nobody is able to understand how God is. If you read the Krishna book, Narad Muni is visiting the various palaces of Krishna, and Narad Muni is the space traveler. So in one moment he can go anywhere. So in one moment he visits all the 16,108 palaces of Krishna. But Krishna, even more mysteriously, shows him different parts of the day, or different in the same one moment. He's showing him different instances of the day. In some palace there is afternoon, in some palace there is morning, in some palace this is something, some palace something. And Krishna is doing different things in every different palace. So it's more inconceivable. Even great personalities like Narad Muni or Vyasadeva, they are also not able to understand how inconceivable Krishna is. In the Shat Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami adds this commentary that if God is not inconceivable in his nature and pastimes, then there will be no reason to worship him. If somebody can fully understand who God is and what God is and how will he work and how will he not work, a time may come that one may either once declare themselves as God because they have anyways understood how God works, so they will work like that, or they may make someone else as God, telling that I'll just tell you how God works. You just work like that, you'll become God. So the fact that God is inconceivable makes a sadhaka or a devotee very humble. And that is the only reason why in all circumstances we wish to worship the Supreme Personality of God, even if we don't understand his pastimes. If he had not been inconceivable, then there had been so many problems in our life. So this is the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya yato anvayaditarataschartheshna abhigyah swarat tene brahma hridaya adi kavaye muhyanti yatsurayah tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trishargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. O my Lord Sri Krishna, O son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universe. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, please listen to this line. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representatives of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him, the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of material nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which forever is free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. And Prabhupada has given a long purport on each of these qualities mentioned in this verse. So the reason why I wanted to share this verse is because even Vyasadeva, in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, only he is accepting that even great personalities are put into illusion. So therefore, Krishna by nature or by, he is simply very inconceivable. So I will again go back to the presentation. So that's the analysis through Sankhya. Now I will show you what is the progression of the philosophies. We analyzed Sankhya is one logical approach in which we understand how these philosophies have progressed. Here we understood that these philosophies have progressed due to the desire of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord wanted it. So it has been spreading like that. Now we understood it in a very logical way also. And now we'll see what is the progression of these philosophies. So this is something which I've already told before. At the time when the Vedas were completely misunderstood, misquoted, Lord Buddha told, I don't accept the Vedas, just be a proper human being. And then Sri Adi Shankaracharya brought the concept of soul, but in a very abstract fashion. Sri Ramanuja and Sri Madhva added details to the concept of soul and brought in the concept of super soul. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, explained the super excellent, inconceivable activities of the Lord and his divine energies. So this is the progression of various philosophies. You may want to take a screenshot, or you may want to take a note in your notebook which you are sitting with. First, there was only matter, that's the Shunyavad philosophy. Then the existence of soul, that's the Advait philosophy. The soul and the super soul, Vishishta Advait. Clarity of difference between the soul and super soul and or God, that is the Dvaitvad philosophy. And finally, comprising all of the, see, each philosophy, as we move towards our right, I'll take a pointer. Each philosophy, as we progressively move towards the right, so the philosophy on the righter side is the superset of the philosophy which is on the left side. That means the Dvaitvad, the Vishishta Dvait philosophy could also accommodate the Advait philosophy. Of course, the place where Advait philosophy says that there is only matter, that has to be rejected. But all the positive aspects of the Advait philosophy can also be accommodated here in the existence of soul. So like that, when we move, so the Achintya Bheda Bhed philosophy is the superset of all other philosophies. Every other philosophy can reside simply in the Achintya Bheda Bhed philosophy. Now, a question comes, all these acharyas were prophets of God, they were the messengers sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why so many contradictions? Before I do that, I will just stop my presentation for some time, take some questions. Are there any questions, please? If there are any questions, please let us know. We'll try to take them. Take your time. think about what you are hearing, and please come up with some questions. So one of our students, his name is he, and along with his entire family, Naresh Kumar Pandit Prabhu and family, have been diagnosed with COVID positive symptoms. The entire family, you know how this situation works. If one person gets in the family, the entire person gets, all the members of the family are likely to be contaminated by the virus. So the situation is a little critical. I can very well understand that. Naresh Prabhu himself, along with his wife, son, and even daughter-in-law, all of them have been diagnosed with COVID positive. So I would request all the devotees, as they attend this session and as they do their japa, please pray for this very, very sincere family. They have been with us since last September, sincerely attending our sessions. They are from Jammu, but still Prabhuji tries to remain connected. Every now and then he sends the answers of the various quizzes, and he sends his notes for my verification and for my happiness. He sends it in written to me. So I'm having very fond memories of the sincerity of this family. And let's all pray for this family so that Krishna may take full care of this family. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Having said that, please don't panic. There's nothing to panic actually. Krishna is in complete, we may not be in complete control of the situation, but Krishna is definitely in complete control of the situation. So please don't panic and take the necessary precautions and chant Hare Krishna. Don't miss your rounds. Sometimes the health is good, sometimes the health is not good. Sometimes the body is good, sometimes the body is not good. But devotional service should not stop. In the meantime, a question has come. Srinivas Ramakrishnan Prabhu is asking, Prabhuji, Ramanuja came after Chaitanya. Then how come the sequence is what? Ramanuja came after Chaitanya. I don't think this is correct. I was about to go and answer this question, but I realized that no, Ramanujacharya came much before Lord Chaitanya. Please check the historical sequence. And please get back to me if you still have any doubts. First Shankaracharya came, then the Ramanujacharya came, then Madhvacharya came, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. In that way, the philosophy has been progressing, if I'm not wrong. Yes, that's what I think. Okay. Are there any other questions, comments? Srikant Prabhu is telling Ramanujacharya came 2000 years ago. That is definitely 1500 years ago, before Lord Chaitanya. Another question has come up. Let me see. Ruma Kanjilal Mataji is asking, Lord Krishna has given his verses almost 5000 years before. After to that, his incarnation, Lord Chaitanya came. What happened to this world in between? How mankind was surviving? Why can't they follow the Bhagavad Gita, although it was very much there? Does it mean presence of Gita was not effective until Lord Chaitanya described the philosophy to the world? This question is a nice question, but I feel this question is a very emotional question also. Please consider the situation in a family, or let's say they take it in your family, or my family, or whosoever's family. There may be some good etiquette in the family, some atithi satkar in the family, where the family is being nicely taken care of and the guests are nicely being taken care of. But if this is not passed down in a nice way, or due to the let's say even if the parents try to pass it on, but the kids are not picking up, then is it the fault of the parents? Of course, in one way, the parents can say that, okay, we were not capable enough, not spiritually advanced enough to pass on the spiritual culture to them. But still, you cannot deny the influence of Kali Yuga. These days, especially, online classes are happening. And small kids, they have become addicted to tablets, mobiles, and so many things. I'm seeing kids, I'm here and I'm seeing so many kids here in my village. They practically cannot exist without a mobile. If you take their mobile away from them, they cannot eat their food, they cannot go to bed. And it's not that they're attending their classes very attentively. They're not doing any homeworks. When the teacher, I saw one child, when the teacher, they were just sitting in the class, simply whiling away their time. And when the teacher called out their name, they just said, hello, hello, I'm not able to hear, hello, hello. And then they went and pressed the leave button. So all this is happening. So whom will you blame? Kali Yuga is to be blamed. The Kali Purusha has to be blamed. Via this lockdown thing, Kali Yuga has given a massive blow. Earlier, at least children till the age of 15, 16, they would remain strictly under the care of their parents. So we wouldn't expect them to get spoiled. At least I'm telling you about my generation. Or many of you are also of my age. As long as we were there in the house of our parents, we didn't get spoiled, at least. But of course, when we went out of the house to college and so many other exposures were there, there were certain chances of getting spoiled. But now children are getting spoiled even at home. And because of that, their attention span is reducing like everything. Parents are not able to understand this because they are not able to understand how Kali Yuga is working. Parents don't know that these days children have already started seeing adult content even at the age of 7 and 8 in their mobile phones. Children have started playing games which are so addictive on the phone. Children have started spending more than 10 to 12 hours on the phone or on the tablet. So just see how Kali Yuga is progressing. So similarly, as soon as Lord Krishna left the planet, Kali Yuga started fixing its roots. Firstly, the Brahmanical class fell down. That's why they gave a curse to a saintly personality like Parikshit Maharaj. And then sooner or later, when the Kshatriya class saw that the Brahmanical class is not as exalted as before, so they were basically no longer in authority, and the Kshatriya class took over. And when this happened, the study and the propagation of the Vedas got affected, of course. Later on, the Vaishyas or the business class, they saw that the Kshatriyas are no longer having the qualities of a Kshatriya. They were simply Kshatriyas in name. So the business class overthrew the Kshatriya class or the ruling class. And that's how monarchy ended and the industrialization came into the picture. And slowly, when the Shudras saw that these businessmen, they are not having a magnanimous heart, they are just behind sense gratification. The rich is becoming richer and the poor is becoming poorer. So these Shudras, they took control of the society and they overthrew everybody, and all these labor unions and everything came. And finally, the Britishers also came. They made everybody feel, especially in the Indian subcontinent, they made everybody feel disgusted about their Vedic culture and their Vedic education. People started feeling it is okay to read poems written by some foreign authors and read concocted, made-up history in which this Central Asian invasion theory of Aryans, it's like a blot on the escutcheon. They made such a stupid definition of Aryans that people started feeling disgusted amongst themselves. They said these Aryans, they basically came from Central Asia and they conquered the whole of India, and the Indians were pushed down in the south and they became the Dravidians or the Dasyus. So the Indians became very disgusted with their history and culture and Vedic education. And in this way, over a period of time, everything related to the Sanatana Dharma was degrading like anything. The people were also responsible. The Kali Yuga was also responsible. So at a certain point of time, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, Srivas Thakur, all these prayed to Lord Krishna that if you will not descend, then nobody can save this planet from the curse of materialism and sense gratification. So at that time, Lord Krishna descended at Lord Chaitanya, and again he kick-started the golden era in Kali Yuga. So from the time of birth of Lord Chaitanya, for the next 10,000 years, in this Kali Yuga is the golden age of Kali Yuga. A time will come when in every town and in every village, even in this Kali Yuga, on this very planet, everybody will be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. In the time to come, within this next 10,000 years, out of which 500 years have passed, in this 9,500 years time frame, a time will come when there will be no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. The whole world will become spiritual and everybody will start going home back to God. There will be a steady stream of flow of souls from the earth planet to the higher planet, to the, not the higher planets, to the spiritual world. And even demigods are already have begun to start taking birth to assist in this movement of Lord Chaitanya. So that is the divine plan of the Lord, of which we all are a part of. So I hope this answers your question. Abhishek Mishra is asking a question. Does Vyasadeva and Sri Krishna belong to the same time? If yes, how Vyasadeva was able to write Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata? Because Vyasadeva was Trikaladarshi, he could see past, present, and future. And Vyasadeva, by the way, is also a literary incarnation of Krishna. So in that way, Vyasadeva is a Satyavash avatar. So if Krishna picks up a pen in his hand and starts writing, that is Vyasadeva. So in one way, literally speaking, there is no difference between Krishna and Vyasadeva. However, Vyasadeva has not shown any other qualities of Godhead apart from the literary skills, but Krishna is showing all the qualities. Okay. Jai Prakash Pandey Prabhuji is commenting, did Krishna consciousness influence these philosophies as Gita and Krishna existed much before them? See, Krishna consciousness is an eternal, as Krishna consciousness means the Sanatana Dharma is an eternal philosophy. All these philosophies will come and go. Because many philosophies have come, and some of the philosophies have, in our lifetime only, we have seen they have come and they have gone. Philosophies like Marxism, philosophies like communist philosophy also, we have seen the decline of communist philosophy. So all the philosophies which are centered around sense gratification, not centered around Krishna or becoming a loving servant of Krishna, over a period of time, they fall. You can say that their fall is influenced by Krishna consciousness because people do not derive that satisfaction of heart by participating in these philosophies. So again, Abhishek Mishra Prabhu is asking, he could have consulted Krishna. Actually, Vyasadeva as a personality was existing on this planet physically even before Krishna had invented. Okay, everybody's questions have been answered. Let me go back to the presentation. I'll again turn off my video. Is the presentation a little clear now? Is it still jittery or getting stuck in places? Should I again turn off my video because I feel a little impersonal without video? I think we will again continue with the video on because I'm feeling that as it progresses, somehow the bandwidth stabilizes. Okay, Abhishek Mishra is telling, again, it's jittery occasionally, so I'll switch off my video and we will go to the presentation. But even before that, one question has already come. I'll take these questions. The reason why I'm taking the questions in between is because it's very essential to be clear about this. What about Arya Samaj and Veda philosophy? See, Sanatana Dharma philosophy is the philosophy of the Vedas. However, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Traigunyo Vishya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. These Vedas, they are in the three modes of material nature. 95% of the Vedic literature, including all the Upanishads and Puranas and Vedas and Mahabharata and everything, are in the modes of material nature. Meaning to say that they are meant for people in specific modes of material nature, to uplift them. So therefore, Krishna is also telling, Nistray Gunyam Bhavarjuna, rise above the Vedas, study only the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. However, there are societies like Arya Samaj. I don't want to comment upon any of them, but any society which does not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, any society which does not believe in unconditional and unmotivated devotional service to the lotus feet of the personal form of Shyam Sundar Krishna, any philosophy or any society which agrees to the fact that everybody can become God, all such philosophies and all such societies are not to be followed. Only this much I have to say. So now you can go and check the facts, check your records and check the data, whether the name of the society about which you have mentioned is in line with whatever I have said. If it is in line, then you might as well follow. If it is not in line, then just stick to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Going back to the presentation. Why are there so many contradictions? If it is a progression of philosophy, then why are there contradictions? All acharyas try to explain the same scriptures. There is no no new scripture introduced. They differed about how we understand these scriptures. Now, there may be some fanatics, outcasts, smart people who will say that, okay, you see, you're explaining first Buddha came and then Ramanujacharya came and then Madhvacharya came and then Lord Chaitanya came. So anybody who is coming later and later and later seems to be better and better and better than the previous ones. So then we don't know. You are saying Achinta Bhed philosophy is the highest philosophy, but we don't know. Maybe in the next 500 years, another great personality or Acharya may come and they may again present something even better. So basically, it is not progression of philosophies. It is just the nature, human nature, that it rejects what is existing earlier and presents something newer. So basically, it is the false ego of people. All this progression is nothing but a history of false ego display, history of sense gratification. A fanatic person can speak like this. However, in defense of Lord Ram, in defense of Lord Krishna, I would like to say that all acharyas are trying to explain the same scriptures. There is no new scripture introduced. They differed only about how we understand these scriptures. Every acharya abstracted certain aspects of the philosophy and explained only a portion of them. Why? Because that was the need of the time, need of the hour. They had been given a specific function that, okay, you have to establish, like Shankaracharya was ordered, you have to establish Mayavad. And Ramanujacharya was ordered, you have to establish Vishishtadvaitvad. Madhvacharya was ordered that you have to establish clear differentiation between God and Jivatma. And Lord Chaitanya was the Supreme Lord himself, and he just presented the absolute philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. So, all these acharyas, they did not introduce any new philosophy. Please take note that Mayavad as a philosophy, or this philosophy of impersonalism, it existed even in Satyuga also. But of course, that time nobody used to accept it because they were seeing so much. Every day they would see the demigods also. And they knew that these demigods are parts and parcels of Krishna, and these demigods themselves would be praying to Lord Vishnu. And then they would see Narad Muni coming every now and then, and he would say that, okay, I just met Narayan and came. So this, at least this philosophies of like that of atheism, that there is no God, was limited to people like Hiranyakashipu. But now it has become widespread. Just like a place which is very dirty, a human being may not be very much interested to go there. Similarly, with the advent of Kali Yuga, the consciousness of the people on this planet has become very dirty, very polluted. So the demigods have also reduced their interplanetary travel while visiting on this planet. Sometimes there have been citations where they have been visited, where they have been cited. But still, they have reduced their travel. So, these acharyas, they did not present anything new. They took certain sections of the Sanatana Dharma philosophy and just presented it to the audience as capsules. Sometimes they denied the details of the abstracted portions to be able to be better explain their portion in a better way. For example, when Buddha was asked about the soul and God, he said, just forget about all that, focus on this point first. Similarly, when Shankaracharya was asked about super soul and others, he said, forget about those things, just understand what I'm trying to explain. So every acharya has just done a focused job where they may have ignored the details of the abstracted portions of other sections just to be able to explain their portion in a better way. So if this is a progression, here is a good example. It is just like mathematics. All mathematics teachers, they teach the same subject. However, in elementary school, if somebody gets a question paper saying 3 minus 5, they say it's a wrong problem. Question has to be changed. Because people cannot comprehend. They do like this. 5 minus 3. 5, 4, 3. So 1, 2. So 2 remains. So they will write the answer 2. But if you give 3, how can they remove 5 from 3? It's not possible. So they say it's a wrong problem. But when you go to the higher grade, 3 minus 5 is a valid problem. Then the negative number system and the positive number system and the imaginary number system and everything comes into the picture. So 3 minus 5 is a wrong problem at one stage of maturity. But 3 minus 5 is the right problem at another stage of maturity. So when the same problem, or maybe it may be the same teacher who is teaching in the lower and the higher grade, the same teacher in the lower grade may say it's a wrong problem, but the same teacher in the higher grade may say it's the right problem. So is there contradiction in the statements of these teachers? If you think that these teachers are contradicting, then you please type yes in the chat box. If you think that these teachers are not contradicting, it is only due to it is only basically delivery of the same truth according to the level of maturity or the need of the audience. If you think that they are contradicting themselves, please type yes. If you think no, what they are doing is the right, it is based on the level of maturity, please type no in the chat box. I'm waiting for one yes at least. Okay. I think everybody is saying no. Thank you very much. Okay, not many people have said no. Did you understand the question? Using this mathematics teacher example, I'm just trying to prove that the acharyas, although they may speak different things, but they are actually not contradicting each other. They are just presenting the various aspects. They're just taking a magnifying glass and focusing on one single aspect. That doesn't mean that there are no other aspects in the entire superset of Achintya Veda philosophy. Okay, everybody was typing no. All of a sudden, some people have started typing yes. Abhishek Mishra, Shachi Tandon, and Devika Malkani. All three of you have typed yes. Do you disagree? If you have any disagreement, please put your question also. I'm taking out time because I want to make sure that this is very clearly understood by everybody. Okay, Abhishek Mishra Prabhu is clarifying that he agrees with what I've said. In between, we have got a question. We'll take that. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Seek a few clarification. Why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not at all well known in South India, where Madhva philosophy is commonly followed? Actually, he is well known. You go to any temple of South India, after doing whatever kirtan or bhajan, all of a sudden they will burst into the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And this has been happening. People may argue this is because of ISKCON. No, even before ISKCON was established, everywhere you go, all of a sudden they will burst into the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra chanting. This proves that Lord Chaitanya was there and he has convinced them to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Even without disturbing their present philosophies so much. Of course, if you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will find Lord Chaitanya on his South Indian tour. He has, Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not going to every Tom, Dick and Harry and explaining him everything. He talks only to, Nityanand Prabhu can go to every person and convince. But Lord Chaitanya is in a different mood. He just catches the elite, the most elite, the leader of the whole section, and he just convinces them, and then he moves further. He preaches to one person in a village, and then that person becomes the acharya of the village, and that was his style of preaching. So when he was there, the entire country was chanting Hare Krishna. He is very well known, at least to the places where I have gone. You go to the present acharyas, Madhva philosophy, the Madhvas are basically residing in the Udupi. You go to the acharyas of Udupi, the mathas in Udupi, and you ask them about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will agree that he is God. And they will have no hesitation in worshipping him as such. But of course, their mood is to worship Krishna, and their mood is a little different from Gaudiya Vaishnavism. But they all fully, openly accept. In fact, the Madhva Acharya, the present Madhva GRs, or the present Madhva heads, you can say the Madhva Acharyas, they are presently, those who are there on the planet, they fully, openly, they accept that yes, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, and they also accept that Srila Prabhupada is the present Acharya. Srila Prabhupada is the present Acharya. They also accept this also. Question number 2, how is Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy? How is it that we hear only Bengali or Assami sounding names, but no South Indian names? No, there are many South Indians who were associates of Lord Chaitanya. Venkat Bhatta is one of the South Indians. And Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they were essentially from Karnataka. So Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the home of Gaudiya Vaishnavism is in Karnataka. Who knows, maybe they were from Bangalore only. And Raghunath Das Goswami, this name, this Acharya, Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, not Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, he was the son of Venkat Bhatta. So if you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will find that throughout his South Indian tour, Lord Chaitanya influenced so many people, and many of them, some of them migrated also from South India to stay in Jagannath Puri with Lord Chaitanya. Ramanand Rai, he was from Southern India. I'm just remembering few names, but there are many more. That is my understanding. So please don't think that Gaudiya Vaishnavism is a sectarian philosophy or a sectarian cult. No, you don't understand. You don't feel like that, but I'm just clarifying for others. Okay. Yes, saints from Maharashtra also got influenced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is very well accepted that Sant Tukaram was a disciple of Lord Chaitanya. Not to speak about South India, Lord Chaitanya had his influence in Maharashtra also. So all this Varkari Sampradaya, which you see, that is an offshoot of Gaudiya Vaishnavism also. In his Abhangas, Sant Tukaram has very openly told that I have got initiation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Purandara Dasa, yes. So I'll just pause this discussion here, otherwise I cannot finish my discussion. Okay, moving on. Now we'll get into a glimpse of the inconceivable nature of the Supreme Lord. Now the presentation is over, the philosophy section is over. Now I just want to discuss some pastimes by which we can relish the inconceivable nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Suresh Mataji is also asking a question, and before that, even I have heard Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Yes, I have also heard that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is a disciple of Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu as an Avadhuta before meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was wandering. For your information, before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu has wandered all across the Indian subcontinent, and he has gone to nooks and corner and even to Bangladesh and further regions, Myanmar and all the places. So it is mentioned in one place that, but I am not sure whether, I cannot quote any citations or references, but I have also heard that yes, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is a disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. And there is also a reference where Guru Nanak actually meant Guru Nanak met Lord Chaitanya. So Guru Nanak and his Muslim disciple Mardana, they were there in Jagannath Puri. So Guru Nanak was about to enter the Jagannath temple to take darshan, and Lord Chaitanya was coming out, and Guru Nanak just saw Lord Chaitanya, turned back and started going back. So Lord Chaitanya called him and he asked him, don't you want to take darshan of the Lord? And then Guru Nanak replied, I have already got darshan of the Lord. And then Guru Nanak came out and he sat down near the Jagannath Puri temple and he started chanting the holy names of the Lord. He used to do a lot of japa. And at that time, he saw Lord Chaitanya coming out of the Jagannath Puri temple, and in the campus only, he started a huge Sankirtan, and Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, all were there. And it seems Guru Nanak left his chanting and joined the Sankirtan of Lord Chaitanya. Okay. Deepa Suresh Mataji is asking a question. Why is it that all incarnations of God happened only in India? Why is Jesus, who is worshipped in majority of the world, considered as an incarnation? Jesus is not an incarnation. He is the Son of God. Sometimes God comes himself. Sometimes God sends his Son. Sometimes God sends his various representatives or the acharyas. But in a sense, we are all sons of Krishna. However, Jesus is an empowered son of Krishna. All the Gaudiya Vaishnavas who are in line with Srila Prabhupada should consider Jesus as their guru, because he propagated the unadulterated philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, or this philosophy of Sanatana Dharma. However, there are various versions of Bible. Many of them are not authorized. In one place, Srila Prabhupada told that if we were to present the actual Bible, then we will be shot dead. People will kill us if we present the actual version of the Bible. This is according to Srila Prabhupada. So, coming to your question, why all incarnations of God happened only in India? Mataji, do you know where Varahadev had appeared? Do you know where Narsimhadev appeared in the previous Kalpa? Do you know where did the Matsya avatar show up? I'm just talking about the Leela avatar category. Do you really know where sages like Parshuram did most of their pastimes. So it's very difficult to say all this. See, the reason why we agree or understand that everything has happened in India, because before the advent of Kali Yuga, there was one king who was ruling the whole planet. And the Vedic culture was spread all across the world. And the world was called as Bharat Varsh. If you read the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, you will understand it's a very complex subject matter. The universal structure and this earthly planetary system is also divided into 7 Varshas. And we are in the Bharat Varsha, Dvipa, Jambu Dvipa, Bharat Varshe, Bharat Khande. We are in that section. So it may be possible that the Supreme Lord has advented in different parts of the planet. But because the whole thing was called as Bharat Varsha, so now our narrow understanding puts us into the understanding that everything happens in India only. But this is a fact that even when the whole world was one single Vedic civilization, of course, there were certain sections which were Mlechas and Yavanas. When Sugriv is ordering all the monkeys to go in different parts of the planet to search for Mother Sita, he also tells that, okay, after going till this part, don't go further because only Mlechas and Yavanas stay in that region. And Ravan is a very cultured man. There's no way that he'll enter that part. So even Mlechas and Yavanas Mlechas means the meat eaters, not people who don't follow the Vedic civilization. Yavana means the people who kill the cows and don't differentiate between mother, sister, and daughter and things like that. So even those times they had been existing, but the majority of the planet was Vedic. So it was called Bharat Varsha. And another argument which I have in this regard is, if I have to, suppose if I am visiting somewhere, if I have to visit, suppose Shimla, then where will I go? I will go to the place where people love me. I will not go and simply sit in some unknown place just to prove that I am a great saint. No, even if I am a great saint, I'm not at all a saint. That's a different subject matter. But even if I'm very great, still I would prefer to be amongst those people who love me. And therefore, Krishna says to Narad Muni, Naham tisthami vaikunthe yoginam hridaye shiva tatra tisthami narada yatra gayanti madam. So even when there was a Vedic civilization flourishing all over the planet, this Bharat Khand has been the place which is the Tapa Bhumi, where various sages and rishis and munis and devotees have done a lot of bhakti and penances. So the Lord is attracted to the holy land of India. Why? Because his devotees are here. So there are two answers to your question. First of all, we do not know the entire cosmology of the universe. So therefore, we cannot logically say that all incarnations have happened in the Bharat Varsha or in the Bharat Khanda, to be specific. And secondly, the Lord is attracted to appear in the place where his devotees are there. And even when the whole planet was Vedic, even at that time, the crest jewel or the most intensified area on the whole planet was Bharat Khand. So we should all feel very fortunate that we have taken birth in the Bharat Khand. Why is Jesus worshipped more in majority of the world? Because Jesus is the guru of all the Mlechas and Yavanas. Since in Kali Yuga, the entire world is Mlecha and Yavana, so they accept Jesus as their guru. That's very natural. Jesus was sent with this purpose only, that he has to give shelter to the Mlechas and Yavanas, because they are not even purified enough to open the Bhagavad Gita or something like that. However, even amongst the Mlechas and Yavanas, those who, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, will come in the contact of Krishna consciousness, they will accept Krishna consciousness, which is not different from the message of Jesus Christ. Okay, let's proceed into the super excellent pastimes, inconceivable nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I will tell one pastime. Many of you have heard this pastime. But if you have heard this pastime and the moment I start speaking about it, if you switch off your brain oh, I've heard this. That means you have actually not understood this pastime, or not actually have begun understanding this pastime also. So purification of heart happens when we repeatedly hear the same message, the same pastime, the same quality, the same name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So we have to hear again and again and again. So please hear, I'm going to describe the Brahma Vimohan Leela, the lunch pastime of Krishna. Many of you have heard this, but still please hear it again. So here is the situation where we see how Lord is inconceivable. Krishna is having lunch with his friends, and he has thousands of friends around him. And everybody is feeding him very nicely. There are very, very nice. You see, there are some boxes. I will show you some boxes. There are some boxes where children are packing their lunch and bringing, and then they're collecting leaves from the trees, and they are sitting and eating very nicely. And Krishna is accepting food from so many people. Sometimes people are tasting something, and if they're finding it nice, you see, this boy is discussing, okay, my grandmother, I used to think that she's a useless cook, but today somehow this laddu is very good, just see. And then he says, yes, it is very good. So this boy is discussing, let's give it to Krishna. And so in this way, everybody is trying to offer everything which is best to Krishna. And Balram is also there here, somewhere in the picture, not clearly visible here. So Krishna is having such pastimes. There are some Brahmana friends of Krishna who are a little bit bewildered by the illusory potency of Krishna. So they are saying, you are a Vaishya and I am a Brahmana. I cannot accept any food from you. I will lose my caste. Actually, this also is a scientific concept. If a person who is practicing the Brahmanical lifestyle or a high level of purity, if they go and start accepting food from places or from people who are not spiritually inclined or who are not very much clean, then their consciousness may get affected. The consciousness of the person who is practicing may get affected. Until unless you are a really strong acharya like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada could go anywhere and accept food from anywhere and deliver that person. But in his purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that if devotees receive invitations from people, they have no obligation to accept that invitation. When my Guru Maharaj was preaching in Mayapur, he was getting many, many invitations on a daily basis. And most of them were not devotees also. They would just respect a sannyasi and they would invite them. So when he asked Srila Prabhupada that what should I do? Srila Prabhupada ordered him that you may visit their home, but do not take any cooked food. Because when you cook, the consciousness gets transferred to the food. And if somebody is having a dirty consciousness, just like if there is a room which is very silent, if a pin drops, then you hear the pin drop. But if a room is already disturbed, you drop an elephant in that room also, it will not be heard. So people who are practicing high level of culture and high level of cleanliness, both externally and internally, even the slightest of lower standard of any exchange may affect them. However, so therefore, Srila Prabhupada ordered my spiritual master that you go to their homes, but accept some fruits and say that you will take these fruits and offer in the temple, and then you will accept. So then people had no problems, and this was a nice solution. So this Brahmana friend of Krishna, some Brahmana friends of Krishna would say, you are a Vaishya, I will not accept anything from you. But Krishna would cheat them by saying that, okay, you look there is a nice green parrot. And then Krishna would take out his uchishta or his jutha or his food from his mouth, and he would place it secretly in the plate of the Brahmana. In this way, he gave his own Mahaprasad to the Brahmanas also, so that they will get delivered. So he was eating from everybody's mouth. Everybody was taking out from their mouth and giving, and he was also giving from his mouth to others. Oh, I just ate this, very nice. You take Sudha, Sridham, and like that. So when Brahma saw this, he became very bewildered. Brahma is an extremely cultured and a Vedic personality. He is fully cognizant of the system which is followed in the Vaikuntha. And never ever before in Vaikuntha it has been seen that Lord Vishnu has been ever doing this, where he is very joyfully exchanging food and putting in others' plate and taking from others' plates and eating. So he said, "Is this my Supreme Lord?" And he was in full doubt. So in order to test that is this my Supreme Lord or not, certainly I know everything about him. I have never heard him doing this. Is this the Supreme Lord or is this just a cowherd boy? So what he did, he stole away all the 10,000 friends of Krishna and the lakhs of cows which he had, and he put them in mystic slumber in the Brahmaloka. And Krishna realized that his pastimes have put even Brahma in illusion, then what to speak of others. So he thought that, okay, let me teach Brahma a lesson. What he did, he himself expanded into all those boys, as you see this picture here. So Krishna has become all the boys. These are the original boys, but actually all of them are various different Narayan forms. And each Narayan form is different. Some of them is holding a lotus in the right hand. Some of them is holding a gada in the right hand. Some of them has a different belt. Some of them has different garland. Meaning to say all these Narayan forms or Vishnu forms came from different spiritual planets of Vaikuntha, and they all participated in the pastime of Krishna, where each of them became the boys and the cows and the monkeys. And they became such, they manifested. Now, in order to prove that Krishna has complete, basically it is Krishna who has expanded into the various Narayan Murtis or Vishnu Murtis or the Chaturbhuj Murtis. Krishna perfectly knew each and every boy. So when he expanded into each and every boy and cow and the parrot, every boy exactly behaved as they were behaving earlier. So even their mothers couldn't identify. Even the cows couldn't identify that this is not my calf, but this is the expansion of the Supreme Lord. Actually, all the people in Vrindavan were desiring to have Krishna as their son. They were all attracted to Krishna. They wished to have Krishna as their son. So in this way, Krishna became the son of everybody in Vrindavan. Even the cows wanted, so he became the calf of everybody in Vrindavan. And that was the age where marriages were being fixed. So every girl desired also that Krishna should be my husband. So in that way, Krishna actually married each and every girl in Vrindavan also. So when he did the Ras Leela, why should people have any objection? Of course, even if he had not married anybody, still people should not have objection. So 1 year, one muhurta in Brahmalok is equal to 1 year on this planet. This has been verified in different parts of the scriptures also. If you read the Krishna book, you'll find when Revat, along with his daughter Revati, couldn't find a suitable husband for her daughter, he went to Brahma to ask who should he give away her daughter to in marriage as charity. So at that time, two great singers, Haha and Huhu, they were Gandharvas. Their names were Haha and Huhu. They were performing very nice Krishna Kirtan in front of Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma was enjoying it. So Raivat Maharaj, he waited for some time, one moment basically, for the presentation, the musical presentation to be over. And then he approached Lord Brahma and he asked Lord Brahma, whom should I marry to? And Lord Brahma said, oh my dear Raivat, by the time you have reached here and waited for me to address you, already many yugas have passed in the material world. Your whole dynasty only is destroyed. Nobody even remembers your name on the planet Earth. However, if you are really looking for a bridegroom, I will request you to go and give your hand, the hand of your daughter to Balram, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he goes and gives Revati to Balram, and then Balram gets married to her, and that's the pastime. So coming back to here, to this instance also, where Brahma just spent a moment and he came back. And then he saw that, okay, 1 year has passed But still everything in Vrindavan is going on as it is. Everybody has all of a sudden become more attached to their children. All the cows have become more attached to their calves. It so happens that Sri Balram also did not know about this most intimate pastime which Krishna was doing. But however, Balram came to know. One day, Balram was on the foothills of Govardhan and he saw that the cows had been taken up by the elder Gopals for grazing on the Govardhan, and the calves were beneath. Along with the calves, because the herding of the calves was done by the smaller boys of Vrindavan. So the calves were beneath, the small boys were beneath, and the cows were, and the elder men were on the top of Govardhan. But as soon as the cows saw all the calves down, they became mad in love. And they started running down in great speed without caring whether they will get hurt or not down the Govardhan hill. And even as they were running down, their milk bags was flowing and the whole pathway was becoming wet so that no dust was also rising. The cowherd men could not understand this behavior. And when they saw that the cows are running towards their calves, they also ran thinking that the cows will feed all their milk. And the cows came down and they were in tears and the calves were drinking all the milk. And then when they also came down, they saw their own children and their hearts also melted and they forgot everything about the cows and the calves and they just took their children into their arms and then they started playing with them. They started smelling their head, they started kissing them and they were shedding tears. So Balram, when he saw that, he said that this is an inconceivable display of love, which I have never even seen till now in Vrindavan. And that time he sensed that something out of this, something really extraordinary is happening. And then in that moment, Balram came to know that Krishna has done something. So these are the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. These are the inconceivable pastimes of the Lord. And when Brahma couldn't understand what is happening, then Krishna started manifesting the Narayan forms. And all of these Narayan forms, they merged into Krishna, which proved that the Krishna is the source of all Vishnu Tattvas. And when Lord Brahma, he saw this, he couldn't handle it. He was swooning. He couldn't handle that display of the internal energy of the Lord and he was fainting. So Lord Krishna pulled the curtain of Yog Maya and then he again became into a small child who was very oblivious as if what has happened, you see. He again came in a form with a small stick, budding stick with food in the left hand. The acharyas comment that this is curd rice, and in between each finger, Krishna is holding different kinds of pickles. Also, acharyas say this is not curd rice, this is kheer, some kind of a yogurt rice, but some kind of very nice preparation it is, either curd rice or yogurt rice or whatever. And you see how Vrindavan essentially was earlier. You see this is a tiger here and this is a deer here. The tiger and deer are sitting together. That means there is no body consciousness. Everybody is simply a servant of Krishna. This is Vrindavan consciousness. So in order to demonstrate this Vrindavan consciousness, Lord Chaitanya, when he was passing through the forest of Jharkhand, he made the tigers and the deers kiss each other in the love of God. This, in a sense, is Vrindavan. So now you can very well understand what it takes to enter Vrindavan and see the real Vrindavan. So when Brahma saw this, he started offering prayers. The 10th canto, chapter 14, or the 14th chapter of Krishna book, is the beautiful prayers offered by Lord Brahma, the Chaturmukhi Brahma. And as he was offering very nice prayers, it's a very, very elaborate section of prayers where Brahma is just telling everything top to bottom and is requesting Krishna to forgive him. When Indra did an offense, that was good. At least by that offense, in one way, Krishna got an opportunity to be with all the cowherd boys and cowherd men and women and gopis and cows and everybody together for 7 days. But Brahma's mistake caused him separation for 1 full year from the gopas and the cows. So in one way, this was a much serious offense. So Lord Brahma was praying and Krishna was not listening very carefully also. Because now Krishna had brought back his original friends and original cows. And all these original friends, they were telling that what kind of this new friendship Krishna has made. He's talking to someone who has a forehead and all. What is this? He's taking so much time there. We are here playing, our lunch is over. He's not coming back only. So these friends were shouting from there that if you don't come in the next 5 minutes, we will not let you play with us. So Krishna was in a hurry. He was like, Brahma, you please go back now. I don't want to hear you. You can write your prayer in a letter or something and send it to me. I'll read it and publish it in the Back to Godhead magazine or whatever. But now you leave. So Brahma was not even sure whether Krishna heard or not. So Brahma went to Navadvip Mayapur. And then he did a lot of austerities to get to begging forgiveness from Krishna. And then he thought that I've already prayed to Krishna, but he didn't pay attention to my prayer. So now I should pray to someone who is even more merciful than Lord Krishna. So then he started praying to Lord Chaitanya. And after a lot of penance and austerities and prayers, he got the darshan of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga, in his Navadvip form, not in the sannyas form of Jagannath Puri. So the beautiful darshan which you see in Mayapur every day, that is the Navadvip Leela, or Navadvip form of Lord Chaitanya. So when he saw that beautiful, most beautiful personality, he fainted. Brahma fainted. And then Brahma was brought back to consciousness by Lord Gauranga. And then Brahma prayed to him that 50 plus years as Brahma has passed. And in every day I have seen your various incarnations. Still, just consider my fallen condition, that I'm still making mistakes and I'm still not able to stop making offenses against you and your devotees. When Brahma was offering prayers, he used the word Aho Bhagya 2 times. He said, Aho Bhagya, Aho Bhagya. First, Aho Bhagya, he said that it is for the residents of Vrindavan who have you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, amongst them. What great fortune. And then the next Aho Bhagya, he said for Krishna, that, oh Krishna, you who are never fully satisfied by the dealings with the demigods and the other people, it is your great fortune that you have got unadulterated, unmotivated devotees like the residents of Vrindavan, with whom you can enact your pastimes. So not only they are lucky, but you are also lucky. Look at us, we demigods. We are simply doing offenses here and there. Sometimes we are in illusion thinking that we are the supreme. We cannot even match the dust of the nail of the people of Vrindavan. So therefore, it is great fortune for you, O Krishna, that you have got the residents of Vrindavan to be with you. So in that way, Brahma was offering prayers, but Krishna was like, I have to go and play. Please get back as soon as possible. I have to go and play. So Brahma was praying to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya understood the pain of Brahma. And therefore he said that, okay, I will give you a chance to participate in my pastimes in Kali Yuga when I will appear as Gaurang Mahaprabhu. In order to curb your pride of being a Brahma, I will let you take birth in a Mohammedan family. So because of your birth in a Mohammedan family, you'll not be strictly a part of the Vedic culture, so you'll never get puffed up. But at the same time, you will every day chant 3 lakh holy names. That means 3 lakh rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. No, not 3 lakh rounds, 3 lakh names. That means 192 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. You will chant, and you'll be known as Haridas Thakur. So in that incarnation of mine as Gauranga, you will appear as Haridas Thakur, and you will intimately you will basically intimately associate with me in such a way that you will get the ability to never make offenses again. That was the boon. So therefore, in the Mahaprakash Leela, this is the same specific boon which Sri Krishna Chaitanya offers to Haridas Thakur, that henceforth you will never make any offenses to anybody. So now our Chaturmukhi Brahma, for the rest of his lifetime, for the next 50 years, he will not make any offenses against Krishna or any of the devotees of Krishna. So this is the most inconceivable nature of the pastimes of Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. And this understanding of Krishna acting through his various energies, through his various inconceivable pastimes, through the inconceivable mercy in the form of his name, through his inconceivable form, his various qualities and pastimes. This understanding is a gift of Lord Chaitanya through the Achintya Bheda Bheda philosophy. Some words from the great people. It is said, Yatpad samshayah suta munayah prashama yanaha sadyah punatya upasprishtah. Actually, this is the wrong meter. I'll start again. Yatpad samshayah suta munayah prashama yanaha sadyah punatya upasprishtah swardhunyapo anusevaya. O Suta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after a prolonged use. So the reason why I have brought this verse here is to stress upon the glory of associating with the devotees of the Lord. One can live for thousands of kalpas at the banks of river Ganges and Yamuna. One can give millions of cows in charity during a lunar eclipse. One can give mountains of gold in charity in various Vedic sacrifices. But all this will not even amount to 1/100th of the spiritual credit which one gets by associating with devotees and chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra along with them. So the great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them. So therefore, my spiritual master says that if you have any problem in life, especially in your Krishna consciousness, or even if it's outside Krishna consciousness, just go and sit with one devotee who is seriously practicing Krishna consciousness. And that is the solution to your problem. Why? Because when two devotees meet, what do they do? Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dradhavgatah namaskyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. My devotees are eternally chanting my holy names. Satatam. So when two devotees meet, they don't discuss the weather or they don't discuss the news. They do not discuss such things. They only discuss about the name, form, qualities, and pastimes. And by association with devotees, we go deeper in our Krishna consciousness. We get a better conviction that simply by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, all my problems will get solved. At least I will come into a state of existence where the problems wouldn't itch me anymore. So, association of devotees is the key. If one does not have the association of devotees, they cannot even chant their rounds. What to speak of doing anything else? Chanting of rounds is the basic necessity of Kali Yuga. If one is not associating with devotees, they cannot even chant. Forget about hearing Prabhupada's lectures or reading any of the books. I'm saying this with personal experience. Those who will not associate with devotees will slowly and steadily wither away in their Krishna consciousness, and they will lose another chance, especially when they've got a human form of life, in the land of Bharat Khanda. So this is a message to all the people who are in this session, and also to the people who have, due to some bona fide reasons, stopped coming to these sessions. They should also understand or get this message. One second. Hare Krishna, sorry for the disturbance. So, without the association of devotees, it's not possible to practice Krishna consciousness. So as long as we are there in the association of devotees, we can practice, and it is much more powerful than associating with Ganges also. Because what can Ganges do? They can purify us only after a long, prolonged use. But devotees can immediately sanctify anything or anyone or any place the moment they come in touch with you. So the key is to always associate with devotees, regularly come for the japa sessions, regularly come for the Gita course sessions, and even after Gita course, when we will form various bhakti rikshas, regularly stay there. Have faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. Come what may. When Krishna sees our faith and when Krishna sees our attachment to the association of devotees, then he blesses us with stability in our sadhana and blesses us with the right guide, under the guidance of whom we will cross over the anarthas which are there in our heart, and slowly and one day we will reach the upper stages of bhakti such as prema or bhava. Okay, so with this I would like to conclude today's discussions. If there are any questions or comments, they are welcome. You can type out your questions. Until then, I'll just repeat the point that whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Lord Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So let's all chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Question has come. Prabhuji, will you please tell the birth? One question has come. Prabhuji, will you please tell the birth of Vyasadeva, how he became the son of Satyavati and Parashar Rishi without marrying? I'm a little confused. Okay. Parashar Rishi was a mystic personality. He got the divine understanding that he is supposed to give birth to a son who is going to be a literary incarnation of Krishna, and he was directed to Satyavati. So he just went and told Satyavati was a person who would ferry the boat from one end of the Ganges to the other. So he went there, he sat in her boat, and this great saintly personality expressed his attraction towards her, and she also felt attracted to this great saintly personality. But again, she hesitated that, okay, how is it possible for me to unite with you? We are here in the middle of the river. I can't say jump out of my boat also. And so what Parashar Muni did, his mystic potency, he created a great fog, and that fog was so dense that even sunlight couldn't penetrate in it. Forget about the demigods also seeing anything. And then mystically, he united with Satyavati in such a way that even after uniting, the chastity or the virginity of Satyavati was still intact. Now, great personalities can do this. Even sun demigod, Vivaswan, when he united with Kunti to give birth to Karna, he did it before marriage. And these great saintly demigods or saintly personalities, they have the ability to unite with someone and still remain detached. Now, they are not like the hippies who keep changing their partners every day so they don't feel any attachment. They are great saintly personalities, highly self-controlled, sense-controlled, and pinnacle of Vedic civilizations, basically. They have this ability to unite with someone without getting attached, and by their mystical potency, even the virginity of a woman can remain intact after the union. So that is my understanding. And then as soon as Vyasadeva was born, he grew up immediately. Her mother was holding, and then he immediately grew up and then just left for the forest. So what Vyasadeva did to his mother, same thing happened to him. When his son Shukdev Goswami had taken birth after a pregnancy of 16 months rather. When he came out of 16 months, he was already 16 years old. These are inconceivable subject matters. Don't ask much questions. And immediately he also left home, just like his father had left home. This is my understanding of the question. Okay, so now let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It's 1 o'clock. We'll chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and this class is being recorded. So it will be shared once I reach back to Bangalore and upload this on YouTube. So for the time being, let's chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and let's all pray to Krishna that we can remain in the association of devotees, and which is the association of whom is even more powerful than the association of great rivers like Mother Ganges and even Mother Yamuna. Hare Krishna. So I'll request all of you to turn on your videos so that we can all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra together. I hope that all of you have your beads and all of you have your Bhagavad Gitas, and I hope all of you are preaching, and all of you may try to discuss with me and engage in some kind of services. That's very necessary. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna